So the previous example on page 69, this one, pay close attention. Oh, you can't see. I'm too excited. This one just gave us that portion assessment, right? So this is 45%. This is 45% of the value of the home already given. But if it's not given, we need to figure that out. Okay, so I'm gonna give you one example where you have to actually do that. Okay, so here you go, page 70. The Lorenzo family owns a home in Selkirk. Doesn't matter where you live in Manitoba, you're gonna pay property taxes. Property taxes is one of those things that actually costs you more when you live in a smaller town, because it's fewer people that have to pay for all those services, right? Road clearance, water, sewer treatment plant, right? All that needs to be paid by a small community. So sometimes property taxes are more when you live outside, okay? So Selkirk, the home is assessed, right? There's a property is assessed at 121, and the actual house is worth 245. You know what? Usually it's always combo. Like they don't do this. I separate it just because it's the combination of the two that we're going to look at. The residence is taxed, right? You're taxed on 45% of the market value. The home has a 42-foot frontage. That's important. The annual municipal rate. There's that. I'm going to give a different highlighter. I'm going to use orange. So the municipal rate is 12.766 mils. That is known as our mill rate. Mill rate. Next, we have education rate. The education mill rate is that. So let's go mill rate. I don't want you to be worried if you see the word mill rate. If it just says, hey, the rate is this many mils, we're talking about mill rate, all right? There's an annual local improvement tax for concrete street paving. That is important, right? There's local improvement is going to be for street paving. There isn't always a local improvement, and you will not always have a credit. In this case, there's a tax credit. We like that, right? There's a tax credit. We're going to subtract. Subtract, anyways. You know why I do that? Because too many times I mark an exam, everything looks beautiful, and at the end, plus $700. It's like, no, you were so close. Why did you do that? So I'm going to call you up if I mark your exam and you add it. I'm going to call you up. It's like, you got to come back in. You got to redo this question before you pass. I'm just kidding. If you pass, you pass. Right? What are the annual taxes on the property? In total, net of credit. Right? So just a different way of wording it. So break it down. We're going to do education. Education. We're going to go. Oh, sorry. I'm jumping too far ahead. My bad. So maybe this is what happens to you sometimes, right? You're like, oh, wait a minute. I need to figure out the portioned assessed value. Portioned assessment will be, watch how I do this, 121,000 plus 245,000. So I'll combine the actual the property and the piece of land times 45%. That's how I'm going to do this. So this ends up being 366,000, right? 366,000 times 0.45. 164,700. This is the number we want to use from now on. So now after that, we forget about the property, like what it's actually worth. This is what we want. You're taxed on this. And a lot of our systems, guys, are super old, and so people just don't change it, right? A lot of the taxation brackets are based on a very old system, and sometimes it's just a matter of changing it up. Okay, so this is, I'm going to underline this. That's the one we're going to use from now on. Okay, so here we go. Taxed on this. So now we're ready for the next. Normally we would jump straight to this, but we had to take that extra step. Education would be 164,700. We multiply that by the mill rate, and make sure your mill rate is divided by 1,000, right? That's the important thing. You know what? To drive that point home, you should not be having property taxes that are worth tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. Okay, then you wouldn't be at Sisler. You'd be in some kind of private remote island. That's how rich you would be, right? You'd have a teacher come to your house and actually you just buy your credit. How's that? I'm just kidding. So there's a mill rate for education. You got to go get it. Education is 18.395. Okay. We're going to figure that out. Do you even know how to calculate that? Make sure you know. Don't just copy, right? I'm going to have my mill rate show up at the top of the page. So I go 164,700 times 18.395 divided by 1,000. There it is, 3,029.66. Yikes. Yeah, you're right. Go for it. So to clarify, you know BEDMAS, right? Remember good old BEDMAS? Does that ring a bell? Order of operations? I'll tell you a secret. I don't know if they told you that, but when it comes to adding and subtracting, if they happen at the same time, it actually doesn't matter which one you do first. When it's division and multiplication, if that's all that is happening, there's some division and multiplication, it doesn't matter which order you do them in. Okay, so right, that would technically be what's inside the brackets, and multiply that by 164,700, still get the same answer. So if you're in doubt, go with your method, Ken, right? That's how you should do it, yeah. Next, we have municipal. We take the same portioned assessment. Our mill rate is divided by 1,000. So that's the 12. You need to be very careful which mill rate you grab, especially if I break it down. It's like, hey, how much is municipal only? How much is the education only, right? So you go 164,700 times 12.766 divided by 1,000. 2102.56. We're not done yet, right? So education, municipal, and then any improvements that may have happened, right? Improvements, I'm just going to go dot dot like this, and I take the 42-foot frontage, right? And I multiply it by the rate that is associated with concrete street paving. On the exam, you will most likely be given the rate, like, hey, it costs this much per foot. or on a test even, but if it's not, then you use your pink table, right? So go and find concrete street paving. I'm just going to show you here. It's 3932. That's how much it is per foot. Right, so you multiply that, you get 1651.44. That's a lot of money. Now we're ready to figure out our net property taxes. Okay, so property taxes, we're going to go 3029.66 plus 2102.56 plus 1651.44. Right, so I added up all these three and then minus the credit. There isn't always a credit, so if it's not there, you just don't worry about it. So I already have this number on my calculator, so I'm just going to add the rest. Minus 700. And so 6,083.66. Anybody remember the program you can enroll for to pay it monthly? TIP program, TIPP, right? Taxed installment payment plan. That's how you do one from scratch, like way at the top. We started off with having to figure out our portioned assessment, right? So that number was used to figure out the municipal and the education taxes, right? And then we figured out all those components. In this case, there was only one improvement. So you go this plus this minus credit. So there you have it, 6,083. Yikes. Okay. So again, if you win that $1 million home, $1.6 million home, you're going to pay a lot of money in property taxes. You're going to pay a lot of money for insurance. It's going to be, you're basically going to have to make some decent money to maintain the house, right? So you might want to sell it. Okay. Let me see here. I'm just going to look at 71. Yeah, try I'm going to say page 73. I want you to try page 73 real quick before we do the AC here. And when you're done this, you want to go look at the amortization table and brush up your skills on that one. Page 73, try this question. I will give you the key in a bit. So for this AC here, first step was to find the payment. So if you get that payment, I would give you 2 marks for that, because you're subtracting the down payment, getting the table rate, getting that, right? So that would have been a must. If you get that wrong, if you forgot to subtract, that's a -1 for sure. And then I will honor your answer here in the chart though, right? So I would have to redo. That's why I have my Excel spreadsheet ready to go for this one. I told you not to do the third month, and for some reason I'm gonna have to do this one real on location, live on location. So the first equity is 55,000. So just check the boxes here, make sure you have that right. The next equity would be 55,446.82. Plus 448.40. So the next equity here would be, it's way too small. Oh, sorry guys. I'm gonna make sure it's big, there are bigger boxes on the quiz. And so just check, and for now, just go check X if you got a mistake there. Yeah.
I got everything wrong except for everything right except for equity.
What did you do there? Just curious.
I did the mortgage 170,000 to get the down payment.
Oh, so you put 170 and 170?
Yeah, but I got the cents right. I just did it wrong.
You were adding.
Yeah, I was.
Okay. You watch different videos. So just how about this? If let's not worry about equity right now, but we are, like, you're supposed to know how to do that from now on. Okay, from now on. So just focus on unpaid balance. Focus on that. If that's good, you get 4 out of 4 there. Technically, it should be less than 4, but let's just go with it. I just want you to review for tomorrow. What's that? We ignore equity for this one. But I would expect you to know that it's the down payment, then you keep adding the principal. Question? So technically so it would be 2 and 2, so 4 altogether, like this whole thing is worth 4 marks. So I would give you 1 mark for this row and 1 mark for this row. And so the way I mark it is if there's 1 mistake, you lose half. If there's more than 1 mistake, then it's a -1 for that row. Down payment, then you keep adding the principal for your equity. All right. Let's do the trig question here real quick. I'm going to add it right here. 1.2. This was 1.7. Okay. And so you can pick any angle, but I asked you in particular to solve for that one right there. Side, side, side calls for cosine law. In particular, this formula, cosine of x. Which one is the first one I told you to put down? Let's see if you remember. This was probably around March that we did this. 2.5 comes in first here, subtracting, because it's across the angle you want. Then you grab the other two, square them, and add. These two show up again down here. But don't forget the 2 in front of it. Okay. You compute the top, you get minus 1.92. You compute the bottom, you get 4.08. And then you can do this one. Angle X is cosine inverse of negative, right? Make sure you have negative 0.4705, and that keeps going for me. I'm using all decimals. Then you get 118. We knew that it was going to be obtuse because of the negative, right? The negative tells me it's going to be bigger than 90. Positive tells me it's less than 90, right? So, how many marks did I'm going to say if you have this set up, if it looks exactly like that, the first row I give you 1 mark, and I would give you another mark for actually correctly calculating that angle. What's that? We cross this one out. Oh, why? Time. Yeah. You skip this step.
No, I skipped
This one?
Yeah,
Just straight to here? Fine. I just need to see the inverse. That's my main. I want to see the cosine inverse and the negative. Yeah, you can skip this step, but I would strongly suggest you do it just in case. So this page is 6. Backside. I thought I had the key, but the back looks completely different, so it must have been a different one. So you gotta just hang in there. I'm gonna just show you the work here. No need to figure out the 45% because, and I did see this while I was walking around. 6.347. So all the mill rates, it's rare, but it has happened in the past that they break down the education into 2 separate ones. I don't know why. It must be some logistical issue there, where to put the money. And so there we go. You get 3 different answers there. The improvement is 45 feet times 1154 for water mains. So this would be looking pretty good already at this point. Suspense. So I get 1673.52. I get 1521.90. I'm going to give you 1 mark for each. And then one more. 6.347. So that's 1128.18. Get a mark for that one. You get a mark for your improvement. A mark for that one. And then total, I would give you a mark for that as well. If you round it incorrectly, just take off half already. Oh, I made a mistake. Something is way off. I must have typed in the wrong decimal or something. 48, 42, 90. No credits, right? No credits. So a mark for that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this page. Yeah. So it's a really big number. I would go -1. You look up and see what you're missing. I don't know if you forgot a mill rate. Did you omit one of the mill rates? Because it gives you 3 mill rates. Oh, but not this one. Okay, that happened to me the first go. But I looked at it and I'm like, it can't be. I got like 2,000. It can't be, right? So 5 and 6, right? 11. Hey, it's 11. It matches whatever's on the page. Okay. All right. I'm gonna get you to keep this one. Oh, come back tomorrow and ace it, right? No, in point form, what you need to know for tomorrow. Okay. You need to know how to calculate the GDSR. What's the magic number there? You should have that on your study sheet. 32%. What is the GDSR? What is it? What can you do to lower it if you're not going to be approved? Because let's say you're at 40%, what can you do to bring it down? You need to know insurance. There's tenant versus owner, homeowner, right? The formula back of the booklet, very back of the booklet. Yeah. The formula is exactly the same for both. Know your deductible, know how to get discounts, know things like that. What affects your insurance, you name it. Payments, right? Mortgages. And with that comes like payments, I, P, T, I, etc. Know how to do that. Amortization tables. Property taxes. Maintenance. Rent versus buy. Maintenance. Rent versus buy. You can't see that, can you? Yeah. What are some advantages of renting versus buying? Don't just say cheaper. It's not going to go well for you, right? Why is it cheaper? Why is it cheaper? And this is other units. Trig. That's why I just got you to do that. Just basic trig. Nothing fancy. It's just going to be a triangle. Does this ring a bell? EV. What does that stand for? Expected value. Look up a basic example. Nothing crazy. I'm not going to have too many options. Not too many prizes to be won. Hey. And does this ring a bell? Prime Minister? No. Precision measurement. And I'm going to tell you specifically, look up combined uncertainty. One question. Look up, you should have all your booklets nicely organized, right? Somewhere in a safe location, right? Look up combined uncertainty, expected value. Trig, kind of narrow it down even more. Just basically, is it going to be sine law or cosine law? And then solve, okay? And I'll see you here first thing tomorrow. First period, guys.